Today, let's use equations to represent division of a whole number by a unit fraction. Okay, let's look at our expressions here. 6 divided by 1. Remember that your division sign is your fraction line. 6 divided by 1 is 6 over 1, which equals 6 wholes. 6 divided by 1/2. So we're dividing fractions, so we've got our steps over here. So we're going to put a 1 underneath our 6, so we have two fractions. Change to multiplication and flip the second fraction. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. So that gives us 12 wholes. Our next one, put a 1 under your 6, so we have two fractions. Change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. 6 times 3 is 18. Over 1 gives me 18 wholes. Next one, 6 divided by 1/6. Put a 1 under your 6. Change to multiplication. Flip the second fraction, multiply. 6 times 6 is 36. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 36 wholes. Okay, on this one, we have 3 divided by 1/4. Put a 1 under your 3, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, and multiply. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 12 wholes. 4 divided by 1/4. Put a 1 under your 4, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, multiply. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 16 wholes. 5 divided by 1/4. Put a 1 under your 5, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, multiply. 5 times 4 is 20. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 20 wholes. Next one, 6 divided by 1/4. 6 over 1, change to multiplication, flip your second fraction, multiply. 6 times 4 is 24. 1 times 1 is 1. 24 wholes. So what patterns do you notice? Well, the quotients here are getting bigger each time, and they're getting bigger by 4 each time. Why are they getting bigger? Well, because our totals at the beginning are getting bigger each time. Okay, let's look at these again. 3 divided by 1/2. Again, we have our steps here. We need two fractions. Put a 1 under your 3, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. Multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1, which gives us 6 wholes. 3 divided by 1/3. Put a 1 under your fraction, or under your whole. Multiply. Flip your second fraction. Multiply. 3 times 3 is 9. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 9 wholes. Next, 3 divided by 1/4. Put a 1 under your 3. Change to multiplication. Flip your second fraction. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives us 12 wholes. 3 divided by 1/5. Put a 1 under your 3. Change to multiplication. Flip your second fraction. 3 times 5 is 15. 1 times 1 is 1 equals 15 wholes. So what patterns do we see here? Well, our quotient, which is the answer to your division, gets larger by 3 each time. So all the problems are dividing 3 into fractional sized groups. So our 3 is our total each time. And so this time what changes in the expression is our in each. So we're having to share with more people each time. So that causes our quotient to go up each time by 3. Okay, so let's look at our problem over here. It says match each problem to an equation that represents the problem. Some equations will not have a match. Be prepared to explain your reasoning. So I see a word problem, so I'm going to highlight first. 1 serving of popcorn is 1/4 cup of kernels. There are 3 cups of kernels in the bowl. How many servings are in the bowl? Okay, so we know that there's 3 cups of kernels in the bowl. The 3 cups is going to be my total. And it says 1 serving of popcorn is 1/4 cup. So that is how much is in each serving. So how many servings? That's going to be groups. So we do not know my groups here. So we have 1/4 and we have 3. Remember, your total comes first. So we've got 3 is our total divided by in each. So we would put a 1 under our 3, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. 3 times 4 is 12 over 1, which gives me 12 servings. So our A would be 3 divided by 1/4. That was our A. Okay, let's look at B. 1 serving of orange juice is 1/4 liter. The container of juice holds 2 liters. How many servings are in the container? So we see that there are 2 liters is how much our container holds. That's going to be the total that it will hold. 1/4 is in each serving. And so we still don't know servings on this one. That's going to be our groups. So our equation is going to be total comes first, divided by 1/4. Remember, if they give you a total, you're dividing. So that's going to give me 2, put a 1 under it, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction, multiply. 2 times 4 is 8 over 1, which gives me 8. So B would be this one, 2 divided by 1/4. Okay, let's look at C. 1 serving of granola is 1/2 cup. The bag of granola holds 5 cups. How many servings are in the bag? Well, 5 cups is how much it holds. That's the total it holds. 1/2 is 1 serving, so that is in each serving again. So once again, we do not know my servings, which is my groups. So we have total divided by in each. So put a 1 under your 5, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times 1 is 1. So that gives me 10 groups or 10 servings. So C would be this one, 5 divided by 1/2. So now it wants us to solve these problems. We already have this one solved. 3 divided by 1/4 gave us 12 for A. 5 divided by 1/2 was C. That gave us 10. 2 divided by 1/4 was B. That gave us 8. Okay, so let's solve this first one. 1/4 divided by 3. Change to multiplication. Now we need a 1 under that 3. And we still need to flip that second one. So we have 1/4 times 1/3. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 3 is 12. So that gives me 1/12. Okay, this one, let's go ahead and put the 1 underneath that first. 1/2, change to multiplication, flip that second fraction. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 5 is 10. That gives us 1/10. Next one, put a 1 underneath your 2. 1/4, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 2 is 8. That gives me 1/8. So today we used equations to represent and solve problems involving the division of a whole number by a unit fraction. Jada says when you divide a whole number by a unit fraction, the answer will always be a whole number. Do you agree with Jada? I think so, because there will always be more than one unit fraction in a whole number. So even if it was 1 divided by a unit fraction, there will be however many unit fractions make up one whole. So that will be a whole number of unit fractions. So for example, let's say that I have 1 divided by 1/4. So remember, a unit fraction, your numerator always has to be 1 in a unit fraction. So we would take our whole and put a 1 under it, change to multiplication, flip the second fraction. That's going to give me 4/1, which gives me 4. So the answer will always be a whole. So we agree with that.